up, beautiful people? Francesca Bleckner here, Mind Body Alchemist, and I support high performers, leaders, entrepreneurs to release the frozen stress patterns held in their body and nervous system so they can lead with power, presence, and more freedom in their body to thrive in their business, their life, and their leadership. So today's video is nervous system mastery and why hyperindependence keeps your business running in survival mode. So a few things really to cover here. And this leads on from the series, the Nervous System Mastery series on hyperindependence, where we've covered hyperindependence and how that impacts health, leads to burnout, also the somatic patterns that show up in the body and what hyperindependence is. Now, hyperindependence, as I have explained in some of my other videos, is that extreme self-reliance, is doing everything yourself, finding it quite hard to receive support or ask for support. And how this shows up in business is, especially if you are running your own business, if you are a solo entrepreneur or you have a team, is that you find that you're doing everything yourself. And even if you have a team, you might end up really micromanaging and spending so much of your energy because you feel like no one can do it as good as you, and you need to stay in control. And in order to stay safe, you need to control everything. And what this does is it actually leads to exhaustion. So firstly, you want to outsource and delegate the things that aren't your zone of genius so that you are not expending all of your energy and your life force, because your energy is finite, right? And so it is your most valuable resource. So if you're spending all of your energy trying to do everything yourself because you feel like no one else is going to do it better and you want to stay in control and micromanage everything, but if you're doing things that aren't your zone of genius, then this tends to lead to burnout and actually takes you away from the areas that are your zone of genius in your business. So look at outsourcing, and it doesn't mean hiring a team member. It could mean just, working with someone a freelancer, or even on Fiverr, or, hiring a VA to help you with some tasks. Even like AI sometimes can be a really great support to help you with some of the tasks, to refine some of the tasks that aren't your zone of genius. But I'm not saying to outsource definitely, don't outsource your intuition and your energy to AI. You need to have that human input that comes from you, that comes from your soul, so that people can feel your energy, that they can feel your resonance. Another pattern I see with high achievers, high performers, leaders, and entrepreneurs is that addiction to busyness, that addiction to productivity, because usually underneath this pattern of hyperindependence is a deep fear. There's a deep fear of not being enough. There's a connection to low self-worth, and often that busyness is related to worthiness. The more output that I put out, the more I produce, then the more worthy I am, the more worthy I am of my achievements. Maybe one way you receive love, perhaps that was demonstrated growing up as a child. The more you achieved, the more you got rewarded, the more you got praised. And especially I see this a lot in high achievers, the pressure when they were younger to get really good grades, and then that was the only time they were celebrated or rewarded or praised or shown love. And so there becomes this connection between achievement, between producing and worthiness of love, whereas you are already worthy of love just because you are being here as a human being at this time. And this leads to burnout. This leads to compromised health, compromising of your immune system. There's only so much you can put your foot on the accelerator and of life and of your business before it comes crashing down. There's only so much you can run on that adrenaline, that cortisol, on that caffeine before it really starts to implode in your health and on your nervous system, and shows up as anxiety, shows up as apathy, that lack of joy, lack of pleasure, just going through the motions of life. And that ripples out into all areas of life, into your relationships, into money, into being able to hold money, into your work, into your business, and into how you move through the world. So it's really, really important to just start to, one is seeing those blind spots. Once that blind spot is seen, it starts to loosen its grip, and then there's ways we can work with this as well. So if you find you're always in that energy of make it happen, that was used to actually be my business tagline many years ago when I worked as a personal trainer, make it happen. And this is very much what's called the buy me consciousness. Buy me, I'm going to push, do to make things happen. Whereas actually we're missing what is that through me consciousness, allowing life to move through me, and I take action, aligned action, as I'm listening to life, as I'm opening into my intuition and allowing life to flow through. There's much more ease and grace that comes from that. Addiction to busyness, productivity, overworking, not good. In hyperindependence patterns, and that's showing up as your dominant archetype at this moment in time, then one of the things you probably struggle with is asking for help, is receiving support. I know personally myself, when I was in those hyperindependence patterns, that's been something that I've really had to work on, is that asking and receiving support. But you can't scale your business if you're not allowing support into your business, if you're not expanding your support system. So one thing that you can do, found this exercise really helpful, is list all the ways that you're supported, not just in business, but actually in your life, like supported with your well-being. Like perhaps you go and see an osteopath who supports you with your structural alignment with your body. Write down every single way that you are supported in your life. What are you doing to support yourself? Because the more you start to see this, and the more your brain, your neural pathways, your nervous system actually starts to see and seek out all the ways that you're supported, and starts to open out to that, and you'll be surprised by the support that actually starts to show up and that starts to come in. You might find that people I directly say to you, I want to support you with your business. So this is something that actually happened to me. So write down, list all of those ways, and not just in your business, but in your well-being, in your relationships, in your life, and just make a list, because that way it's like the gratitude muscle. You're strengthening that muscle of support, which is really hard for a lot of us who are in these hyperindependence patterns, type A personalities. If you go back to my video on the somatic patterns, the lower back is an area that is often quite problematic for those in patterns of hyperindependence, because the lower back is very connected to support, receiving support. The back, feeling like life has your back. The kidneys, the adrenals are like the batteries of the body, the life force of the body, and somebody who's always got the batteries on, go. That area, the energy flow might be quite just disturbed, let's say. Allowing yourself just to really be held by the ground, particularly if you're on the bare earth, amazing, or if not, just on the floor, and just allow yourself to sink, and just saying to yourself, I am held, I am so deeply held, it's safe to be held. And you'll feel your system just drop into this really restorative place, actually. And again, you're just allowing yourself to open up more and more to receive all the goodness in your life. My last exercise is to list all the ways that you see hyperindependence showing up in your business. What are all the ways that you are trying to muscle through and do everything yourself? Maybe it is, what areas are you spending so long on trying to do yourself when you could outsource it to somebody else, or delegate to somebody else? Where are you micromanaging? Where are you controlling everything and not trusting that you have support, or that other people can support you, or that you are supported in other ways? So write that list, and then by each one, look at how you can counteract that. Like, what can you do instead? So for example, if there's things in your business that are just not your zone of genius, and you're spending hours and hours doing it when somebody could do it better for you for much less time, then look at outsourcing that and letting go of the control so that you can trust that that can be held. If you want to go a bit deeper, I do have a 15-minute somatic reset, which is designed to do daily. It's £22, and it works specifically with the deep internal tension patterns, somatic patterns that are linked to these patterns of overdrive, of hyperindependence, of armoring. And it really, is amazing at recalibrating, reorganizing the nervous system out of those overdrive patterns and more into open, receiving, more freedom within the body, less of that like push, do, hyperdrive. And if you want to go even deeper, then I do have a 1-to-1 6-month embodied mastery coaching program for clients, high performers, high achievers, leaders, entrepreneurs who really are ready to work with nervous system mastery, somatic wisdom to align with their business, their entrepreneurship. And we also go do identity-led work and working with energetic sovereignty, which is really, really important for these times, because the future of business is on the energetics and resonance, and we are moving away from burnout and hustle culture. So if you're interested in that, then all the links are in the description below, and let me know how you're getting on. Subscribe and look out for the next video in the series. Much love.